Yes, guys, what is happening? Welcome back to the channel. Nice intro once again, as you can probably tell by the mask, the orange, and
Oh,
soon-to-be background. Halloween is approaching, and 10 here. Big up to 10 once again. Thought, why not? Let's do a bit of a seasonal sort of
yeah.
theme background,
I
which you'll
want to see
see
how this
in a minute.
works. Let's
Yeah, we'll
see.
see. Let's
I'll
do it
do.
while on
There's
stream.
an overlay. This. How's it look?
What is this? What
Or
is this?
or
That's just
no.
party.
Okay. So this one.
Probably the wrong show to do that.
This one. That magical dust for Halloween.
Boom.
And then
There
I'll
we
turn
go.
off.
Yeah. No, I'd get rid of the sparkles. That's gonna.
Yeah, how do I remove?
Yeah. How do we get rid of the sparkles?
Okay.
Yeah, I would have played with my eyes. That would have been weird. Kind of looking at the screen. But yeah, like I said, guys, we're back. Halloween is approaching. For all of these shows, we kind of decided that 10 proposed a really good idea that for each show close to a holiday, we will do a different themed background. So you're seeing a Halloween one now. Then for Christmas, the shows before Christmas, you'll see a Christmas one, and then maybe even Easter as well. In a new year, especially for this show, seeing as Easter, for those who don't know, is a big thing. It's a big holiday in Italy. So another episode of La PIñA Rosa. 10, welcome back. I think it's fair to say that from all the shows we've done this season, this is going to be the most negative show, I would say, from the recent performances of both our clubs, the results at the weekend. And yeah, just essentially both clubs going through, it's fair to say, a not particularly good period right now. So yeah, 10, listen, welcome back. How have you been?
Yeah, doing good. I hope everyone loves the background. And yes, we will do one for Year of the Bird, but you have to wait.
Yeah.
Which we will do on Friday, 5 p.m. UK or 6 p.m.
Yes.
time.
So there's a change this week. To Year of the Bird. Obviously, the normal time for an hour will be 11 a.m. on Thursday. However, for this week, because I might as well reveal it, because I will be in Newcastle on Wednesday in the away end for Tottenham. I get back on Thursday and obviously won't have time to do it at the normal time. So we're going to do it on Friday, 5 p.m. UK time. So, yeah, look, a lot to talk about today. Like I said, sadly, it is going to be quite negative, I imagine, just based on just the recent form and performances of our clubs. Especially in Deportivo's case, if you look at the recent run of results, particularly, we'll get into it. I guess we'll start things off with Deportivo.
Yeah.
A massive game at the weekend against Valladolid, of course, a team that were relegated from La Liga last season, one of the teams being favourites for promotion this season. Listen, Deportivo needed to win this game. They had some recent poor results. Valladolid were inconsistent. This was one where, if Deportivo could have got 3 points, they could have, it would have been a big win, against a team that's probably going to be in a similar area to the table for them this season, keep themselves at least in the playoffs minimum. But as we keep saying, it's so early in the season. Deportivo now have dropped a long way down the table, which we will talk about. And it just shows you, look, with it being so early, things can change. You lose one game and you plummet down. But to be honest with Deportivo, the sad thing is that, it's not just one game. This is now like a rot, you could say. Yeah, 5 games without a win in the league. And this was another one, 1-1 at home to Valladolid in a game where they should have lost, if we're being totally honest. The defensive frailties once again popping up, going down to 10 men, high foot challenge, high boot.
Oh, actually, that was Valladolid.
That was Valladolid, yeah, my bad. But yeah, Deportivo going down to 10 men. Atrocious defending. Valladolid. Pretty much, I would say, getting outplayed in the first half. Like, they should have really been more than just the 1 goal down. Second half, obviously, having the extra man, they came back into it. They did improve. Obviously, Valladolid being down to 10 men, I felt was a big part of that. Big up to FC25 as well.
Wow. Oh, it also does.
Yeah, it's the font. Yeah, the font's changed as well. And then obviously, Deportivo, the pressure did pay off, essentially, because they were able to.
Oh, no, it's Charlie froze. Oh, damn. At least for me, it seems like Charlie froze.
Options going. What was your thoughts?
Now you're
back. Yeah, I think we're back.
Yeah. Oh no. Now you. Well. Okay. Uh, all right. Well, let me readjust. Seems like Halloween has taken over. Charlie and I. Um. But yeah. So yeah. Obviously, FC 25. But yeah, my thoughts on this game against Valladolid. The first half, not great at all. I think. Oh, well, while waiting for Charlie. Okay, add.
There we go. There we go. I lagged out again. My bad. But yeah, I don't know if you heard me, but I was just saying that, like, yeah, salvaged a point at the end with the penalty. Whether it was a penalty, I think is, we can debate that, of course. But at the end of the day, like, I don't know if you guys heard it or not, but I was basically saying that Valladolid, kind of shot themselves in the foot with the red card. Um, I said Deportivo, my bad. Valladolid, of course, were the ones that went down to 10 men. And look, in a first half where, if we're being honest, the way Deportivo were defending, the way they were, sort of playing, I felt that Valladolid probably should have got more than just the one goal in the first half. Obviously, they scored with the penalty, but then second half, down to 10 men, it allowed Deportivo to come back into the game. They did force one really good save from their keeper, but eventually the pressure paid off. Deportivo got a penalty at the end, which, like I said, we can debate whether that's a penalty or not. But they did score it. Jeremy Hernandez made it 1-1, literally the last kick of the game. And it was probably a draw that I think Deportivo sort of a lot went their way. But they did salvage something from what I felt was another just very poor performance until sort of the red card happened. So 10, I guess, I don't know how, like I said, I don't know how much of it you heard on what I said, but what's your thoughts? Because obviously, like you said, 5 games without a win. We'll get to the table in a bit, but you plummeted down the table. I felt this was a game that you really had to win just to kind of, it would have been a great game for you guys to just kind of get back on track and that sort of thing. I mean, kind of for you, who obviously watched it more closely than I did, what was your thoughts on your performance and the result, of course, for this game?
Yeah, obviously not the best result. Obviously, I think I predicted a draw.
I think we both said draw. Yeah, I think we
Yeah,
both.
so technically we got it spot on, and obviously I know I got another result spot on, just not with Deportivo, with the team down there. But yeah, this game against Valladolid wasn't great. I think first half, I think Valladolid probably should have scored more goals. But the fact that they've only scored in that first half with a penalty, um, you know, we basically only conceded because of a penalty. Um, but overall, that first half wasn't great at all. I think um, when you look at the two teams, you probably thought that maybe it might be quite even. But yeah, the first half just wasn't great. We only had one shot.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, for the lid in that first half, 14 shots and 5 on target.
Totally, yeah. Literally
They
leveled.
they dominated
Leveled,
that
yeah.
first half.
Should have killed the game off, if we're honest. They should have gone and got it
Yeah,
done.
yeah. So I think at halftime, I think they deserved obviously to be winning that game. Obviously, it would have been better if it was like 0-0, but it was La Tasa. Obviously, played in La Liga. Obviously, most of them.
Yeah.
Valladolid did
Yeah.
last season. But yeah, I think they deserved the lead. And then the second half, it's almost like the complete opposite. You could say,
It's a definition of a game of two halves, basically.
yeah. I think what really changed is probably the sending off of the salsa. A high boot challenge. It's not. I mean, you can see he was trying to win the ball, but also he kind of.
The problem is in the modern game that the referees, if you put your foot higher than like if you going for a challenge and your foot's higher than the other player's foot, if it's anywhere from the shin above, that you're gonna get sent off if you make
Yeah,
contact.
yeah.
That's just the modern game. It's
We
gone a
saw
bit
that
soft.
in the El Clasico at basically
Yeah,
at the end of the game.
that's
So
right.
I think that really played a big part in Deportivo coming back. I mean, I see the XG second half. Deportivo 1.39, Valladolid 0.02.
Yeah.
But I mean, even the when we talked about the first half, I think a draw is probably the right result when you look at it was a game of two halves and all.
I mean, the
But
stats kind of show it. Like the stats,
yeah,
Valladolid, like most, apart from like one shot, all of their shots came in the first half, basically.
yeah, and the
Apart from like
same
one
with Deportivo for the second half.
second half. Yeah,
And both
exactly.
scored from a penalty.
Yeah.
And when I forgot who was the one that made the foul on Zakaria in the box, because the foul
Do you
was.
think it was a penalty? Do you think that was a penalty?
I think both. I think both were penalties, both
Yeah.
Valladolid and Deportivo. The one for Valladolid, I think it was Luvero, kind of had his arm like 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 on his shoulder, pulling him down without getting the ball, obviously. So I think that was a penalty. And then the Zakaria one, the one that obviously Deportivo scored basically in the last minute, the ball was up in the air, and the defender of Valladolid basically grabbed Zakaria's arm. So literally
Yeah.
no way
Yeah.
of jumping or getting anywhere.
I guess that probably was a pen, if I'm honest.
Yeah, I mean, it took the referee a while. It's like, I think that's
because the VAR, he was looking at it for just so long. So.
Yeah, and that's why it was like 12, 13 minutes past the 90. But at least got the decision spot on, because I think both were penalties. But overall, I think in terms of the team performance, I know we played like sort of.
You went back to a back five in this game. I mean, obviously changed from the last game. Mulatieri coming back in as well. Stoichkov in there. David Meyer at right back again, or right wing back in this case. But I mean, what do you think of this team? Because I can see what your managers tried to do. What's his name? Hidalgo. Yeah. Hidalgo. I always forget your manager's name. My bad. But yeah. Kind of what would you make of this? Because I could see what he was trying to do. Look, he was trying to shore up the defense, which has clearly been a problem the last few games. But if I'm honest, from what I saw, it didn't really improve things.
At least in that first half.
In the first half, yeah. When it was 11v11, basically.
Yeah, I think this was probably still a pretty tough game against Valladolid, considering Valladolid just got relegated from La Liga. I know that's not saying much, because like they barely did anything to challenge the other teams of surviving. But Valladolid was still, a relatively new.
Well, they're a yo-yo team. You can never kind of write them off for promotion, even though they've been inconsistent this season.
Yeah. And then I think, I don't know, I feel like the team didn't really do that good in for the most part in this game, but obviously the second half probably improved. I think both teams, you could say, were kind of unlucky, perhaps, to say that they didn't get the win. I would say, because first half, I think Valladolid should have won. Second half, Deportivo should have won.
Then my thing as well, 10, is that if it was 11v11, based on the evidence, I think you would have lost. Because at 11v11, I thought they dominated the game, if I'm honest. And that's obviously you guys should have done a lot better.
Yeah, and maybe that's probably the reason why we got the momentum in that second half. And who knows, maybe a bit of luck went our way. We are just, at least in the league, actually we haven't played the Copa del Rey yet, but we are playing this week. But still unbeaten at home, technically.
10, yes, still unbeaten at home, yeah.
Yeah, but obviously not been the best couple of games. And obviously our month of Halloween or October, just not been. It's been haunting for Deportivo.
Look where Deportivo have ended up.
Yeah,
it shows you how it can change. Down in 8th place now.
Yeah. So I think overall, in terms of how the league table is looking, I know it's only 11 games out of 42.
Look, it's still early, but it's the fact that you've look at your form. No win in your last 5.
Yeah. But I think hopefully, at least the season doesn't end in October. You can tell that to us.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly.
But obviously, right now for Depor, I think we're kind of like in a rut. In obviously 5 games without a win, but I think we just need that bit of confidence. I mean, I just before this 5-game winless run, we won 3 games in a row. The 5-1, the 4-0. Maybe I should do watch longs now. That was actually the last time
That's
Deportivo won.
Deportivo's last win. Yeah, the watch long you did. Yeah.
We're playing Zaragoza. Okay. Maybe I'll make a watch long.
I mean, Zaragoza, look. I mean,
we might as well preview the
just
game.
quickly, I guess before that, I'll ask you, like, what are you kind of like? Because I know you said before the season, kind of your expectations are sort of like, you know, be in the upper end of the playoffs, challenge for automatic promotion, like that sort of area. Like you said that if you can get into the playoffs, that will obviously be, you know, good. Obviously an improvement from last season, which was obviously mid-table, but kind of for you, you know, with the run of form, with how it's the fact that, you know, not necessarily where you're on 8th, but like, because it's still, look, you're still only 2 points from second. If you look at the table, you're still, so it can change within a week. But it's the fact that you've kind of gone from the top all the way down there with this run of games. I mean, are you hitting the panic button, or kind of what's your sort of what's your kind of feeling about the whole situation right now?
I think it's just probably I would say the games, or what do you call it? It's like the results caught up to maybe the poor performances, not the 5-1, the 4-0, but maybe the games before that, because, you know, we drew against Burgos in the first home game of the season, wasn't great. I don't know. I just feel like maybe this is just the flip in form. And obviously, we did play, like, when you think about it, the 5-game run, you know, we drew with Almeria, and Almeria up to third. We lost, obviously, to Malaga, which is probably the worst. But we lost to the team in first, Santander, and obviously drew with Valladolid, who, you know, just got relegated from La Liga last season. So you could say 3 of those 5 games were against teams you probably actually expect to be a playoff sort of team. Valladolid, Almeria, Santander. So
look, you haven't had the easiest run, it's fair to say.
Yeah.
Like, it's not like you've been losing to, like, you know, all just bottom half
apart from
teams.
maybe Malaga, because Malaga
Yeah, that
lost.
was bad. The 3-0, that was the worst out of all of this. That was the worst one. The 3-0 against Malaga, I think, was your worst performance.
And that was the first loss of the season. So
that's what started this run, basically.
Yeah, I mean, you could even say the eyeball game, because I remember that we were 1-0 up, and then last minute they scored. So it's kind of like the reverse, you could say. You know, both Deportivo and Newcastle United are scoring last minute. So at least I have something-ish. Probably not for Deportivo because it wasn't a win. But I think I wouldn't say panic yet, because you're only literally...
You're 2 points from second, yeah.
And we're 1 point behind the playoff.
Yeah.
So I think probably it's when we play our next few games, because I think our games somewhat get easier. I mean, I would say the funniest thing about the league table is that the team in 7th is the team from North Africa.
Yeah, the little territory.
They have been unbeaten after losing 3 games in a row.
They've come all the way up. They've gone above Deportivo now. Yeah.
So it kind of shows.
That just shows you that it goes both ways. It can change really quickly for the worst. It can change really quickly for the better. So far from, like, I agree with you. Far from panicking right now. It's just kind of when you look at the form, you're like, you know, it's not really getting better at the moment. But in terms of your next game, of course,
actually, technically, our next game is Samano.
Oh yeah, and the Copa del Rey, of course, very early round. Early round of the Copa del Rey against, are they in what, the 4th tier, did you say?
I think 5th tier.
5th tier, yeah. So I think we can pretty much breeze past that one. Look, if Deportivo don't go through,
then
that's a massive upset, basically.
Yeah. I mean, my prediction for that, because I literally have no idea about Samano. I only found out when Deportivo drew them where Samano, where they're based. They're based in Cantabria, so near Santander. It is played in Samano, I guess, at their stadium. So I would probably say, I don't know about scoreline, because I don't want to sound, oh my god.
Well, you're gonna rotate, that's for sure. Because clearly, I don't know how you view the Copa del Rey, but I guess Deportivo are probably in a very similar situation to Palermo, in the sense that the Coppa Italia, look, that's not the priority this season. And I'm guessing it's the priority for you is getting promoted as well. So, because obviously, look, being realistic, like Deportivo are not going to win the Copa del Rey. So, unless you never know.
I mean, obviously, Deportivo's history with the Copa del Rey,
exactly,
beating Real Madrid on the 100-year anniversary, 2004. That's obviously the big one. But at least I mean, surely we go through. At least in this round of the Copa. Obviously, we'll see if we do make it through. We'll see who we get. Aim, just don't lose this one. I would say if we lose to a team either in the second or first tier, I think that would be acceptable. I would love to see Deportivo go far, but it's only like round of 64, more or less. Teams like Real Madrid and all haven't even entered the competition yet. So
what round? How many teams left in the Copa del Rey right now? What round is it? Like
it's like round 80, 64, that sort
round of 80, round of 64. Yeah, it's like
somewhat, or it could be even more. Because I know a few teams haven't even entered yet, but La Liga teams, some of them have entered this round. But yeah, in terms of that, I'll just say 2-0. Why not in that one?
Not going too much because I mean, listen, I've been there with Tamworth almost, so it is what it is.
Maybe you could pray for Tamworth.
Oh man, could you imagine? Can you imagine Tottenham faced them again in the FA Cup this year?
Oh, and revenge. But yeah, I'll go 2-0 in that one.
Yeah, I mean, look, Deportivo should win, 5th tier side, the early round of the cup. It's not too much to say. But in terms of the league game, when I look at this fixture for Deportivo, when you talk about a must win, getting the perfect opportunity presented in front of you to just get a win on the board, it is this game. Yeah. Deportivo face Zaragoza, who are bottom. It's a very sad situation. They're a big club in Spain.
Yeah.
They are rock bottom of La Liga 2. They're a club that have lost 4 games in a row, I believe.
The last home game was a 5-0 loss to newly promoted.
Last game was a 5-0 home loss. So this is this is by far the worst team in the league. This is a team that are pretty much nailed on to get relegated.
Yeah, I think
so. If you're talking about, and very, very sad situation for them, but if you're talking about Deportivo getting the win, getting back to winning ways, this is the perfect chance. But at the same time, that comes with pressure, and it's one of those where if you don't do it, then you're saying you're not hitting the panic button now. If you don't beat Zaragoza, I think that is very concerning.
That is concerning, yeah.
Yeah. So I guess having said that, what's your thoughts on your next game? Can Deportivo end this rot that they're currently in?
I mean, I hope so. Obviously, this game is away at the ground, even though it's like the renovate or the secondary stadium because they're renovating for the World Cup. But last season, it ended 1-0 for them on the 25th of May, which was actually the final home game before the renovation for Zaragoza. And so they beat Deportivo. And then the reverse game last season was 1-1. So we haven't beaten them since getting promoted. But obviously, I think, I would probably, I'm going to say they're all going to go down. Zaragoza.
I think, that it's looking that way.
Yeah, I just don't see improvement. Obviously, I forgot who they brought in as the new manager because they sacked Gabi, the former Atletico Madrid player from that 2014 team. Obviously, now he's a former manager of Zaragoza, but now he's been sacked a couple weeks ago. Probably, I think it was after the 5-0. But yeah, I would probably say our hopes to probably pick up form, I think, has to be in the Samano and this one, because I think it's important for Deportivo to get the result here against Zaragoza, because Zaragoza have only won like 2 games of 1 game, and that was against Mirandes, and Mirandes are the team just above them. So literally, Zaragoza has practically not beaten anyone from 20th and above so far.
Yeah, really
So
bad.
let's see if it's Dr. Deportivo.
No Dr. Depor. That can't be.
Yeah, I think that this has to be the must win. No matter how the performance is, it has to be a win, just to kind of get yourself back into the mix of the top 6. I would say, because I would probably say I don't know about automatic promotion. I think that has to be probably around March, April, May to kind of see where Deportivo are at. I would say, but right now I think just be in amongst the top 6 area, or even if I mean we're 8th right now, but just as long as we're in and around the playoffs, just in time for the March, April, May when it's like the final home stretch of the season. But you can't take Zaragoza lightly, but I don't know. I just really don't see how Zaragoza can beat Deportivo. I'll be honest, like they like literally it's either nil. This game could either be 0-0 because the past few games before these like losses Zaragoza have were 0-0. So this game could be a 0-0 or Deportivo win. I would hope. But yeah, it is a sorry state of affairs for them. But for Deportivo, I think it's important to finally get a win in La Liga too. Because obviously our next few games after this, we play Leonessa at home, Cordoba away, Ceuta, the team from North Africa, at home, and then we are away at Albacete for the month of November. So, we have 5 games in November. I think, I'll be honest, we should be aiming for minimum to be in around the playoffs area. I say 3 wins in those 5 games. And Zaragoza is a game that is like a high chance of winning. So that obviously there's not going to be too much pressure on the other 4 games in November. So I probably say Deportivo has to win. I don't know how confident I can be about, could it be a 5-1? Could it be a 4-0? Like our last 2 victories? I don't know. But I will probably say we still win. But it's just the defense I'm a bit worried
The
about.
defense is a problem right now.
That's
I mean, I guess I'll ask you, like, for these defensive problems, I mean, what changes would you make to the starting lineup going forward?
I mean, do I think a back 5 works? Probably not for a team like Zaragoza, because Zaragoza, they're actually not only the worst team right now in the league in terms of position. They scored in the 11 games 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's all they've scored. 6 goals. So if we don't beat Zaragoza, and I am pretty sure, right? Let me look. Apart from one other team in the league, actually, you know what's funny? Santander and Zaragoza have conceded the same number of goals. That's the funny thing.
Yeah. It just shows you Santander, they're like very gung-ho.
Yeah. But for Zaragoza, the only thing is about the gung-ho is that it's not the scoring part.
They're just getting slapped That's the truth. Sadly for them, but they're getting slapped by most teams every week.
I mean, getting slapped by Leonessa, a newly promoted team that, I'll be honest, I also think gets relegated by the end of the season. I have to. Sure.
You guys have to win.
The next 2 games, Samano and this one, has to be wins. I think that has to be the main priority. Samano, okay, fair enough, because it's not the actual league, but it would be embarrassing to lose.
Yeah, you can't be losing to like 50 teams.
Yeah. I mean, you almost experienced it for Spurs.
Yep.
But
I did.
I would probably, in terms of scoreline, I will go Zaragoza, I hope 0. Deportivo, I'll be humble, 2.
2-0.
I'm not going to be like, oh, 5-0 like Leonessa did.
I reckon
I'll be humble about it.
I reckon you'll win. I mean, you have to win. This is one of those where it's like it's just a fixture presented right in front of you that's, has to be 3 points. No matter how you do it, you just have to win this game
And this is
against.
the perfect game to.
It's the perfect game to bounce back.
The winning one, yeah.
The problem is that, if you're going to get a bit complacent, you never know what happens sometimes. I mean, I've seen both my clubs be in this situation before and not win a game like this. And that's also Palermo, not just Spurs. Palermo have been in this situation before. So I can tell you that you can't kind of be complacent. But what I will say is that Deportivo, I think the fact that you salvaged a draw with like the last kick of the game against Valladolid, I think you'll be feeling a bit better in the sense that you got something out of the game. You probably should have lost, but you
that second half we were.
Yeah, second half you kind of came back into it and everything. So yeah, I'll say you'll win. Look, I think you need a clean sheet as well with kind of the recent performances. I'll go because look, you've proven you can still score goals. I think I'll go for a 3-0 win. I think you'll win 3-0.
As long as it's a win, that's the main concern.
But at the same time, it might not be the best 3-0 considering kind of the recent performances, but 3-0 I think is kind of the minimum you'd expect for Deportivo against a team like Zaragoza, if we're being honest. But yeah, that I guess concludes the Deportivo part of the show. Look, not a good run of form for them. Slid down the table out of the playoff spots, but it's only 11 games and they're still 2 points from second. So, but at the same time, the defense has to do better. The manager has to change things, and I would say that just in general, they have to, get out of this rot. And obviously, it's easier said than done. But this game against Zaragoza next week, I think, will be a good starting point to that. With also some more favourable fixtures coming up in November as well. So, yeah, I guess that will move us on nicely. Where now you're gonna
very nicely. My paying, I'll go and transfer it to you now.
Now it's time for.
I'm not. It wasn't a loss for me.
It was a loss for me. And it was the first loss in the league for Palermo this season. Palermo lose 1-0 away to Catanzaro, a game that I said we had to win, a game that I said that if we don't win, I will start to... Look, I expressed some concerns in the last few weeks about certain areas of our team not clicking, our performances not being as good as I believe they can be. But we were getting results, albeit too many draws for my liking. But we were getting results. We were unbeaten. But again, it's still very early on. And this is what I always say. The table doesn't mean a lot right now. And Palermo, I hate to say it, but these cracks have been going on for a while. This isn't the first game where I'm sitting here and thinking, yeah, I'm not impressed. Because, listen, this has been happening quite often this season in the sense that we've got results, but I've been sitting there saying, we should be doing better. We should be winning games more comfortably. We should be, winning, games that we've been drawing too much this season. And we finally came unstuck. And it was annoying because it was against Catanzaro, who hadn't won a game all season. Catanzaro, listen, they've been good the last couple of years. They've been in and around the playoffs. I thought they were decent last year. But they haven't been good this season, Catanzaro. They've been drawing every game. They lost at home to Padova recently, who Padova are a newly promoted team. But Palermo lose 1-0 and our unbeaten start to the season is over. And I guess I'll just get straight into it because I have quite a bit to say because I'll just be very blunt about this whole thing. I'm really just pissed, if I'm honest. Like this is I'm just fed up. This is nowhere near good enough. I mean, you look at first of all, 1-0. Catanzaro should have been more than 1-0. Joronen was our best player, our goalkeeper. I mean, I guess the good news about Palermo right now is that our goalkeepers are now fit. Gomes is back and Bardi both back on the bench. So finally, we don't have an injury crisis in the goalkeeping area for once. But listen, Cisse, who I said for Catanzaro was the guy that we need to be careful of. Cisse's probably been their best player. Gets the goal, very poor defending. I think we have to do better. But they missed 2 1-on-1s in this game. Palermo, look, we had a couple of chances in the second half, but we just didn't do anything with it. And it was once again nowhere near good enough. I mean, I look at it here. First of all, Pigliacelli, is our ex-goalkeeper. He's our former goalkeeper. You know, gave him a clean sheet. I didn't even look. I thought he was decent for us in his first year, but his second year, I didn't think he was good for us. You know, made him look half decent in this game. Obviously, Cisse, like I mentioned, for Catanzaro. I think Rispoli, young player as well, that we didn't deal with particularly well. But I look at Palermo. Yes, we're having injuries. And if I'm honest, I think this loss of Bani in the defense we've started to feel it, because Peda's a decent backup, but he's not Bani. Bani has come in, has easily walked into the club in the summer, and has been our best centre-back. From Genoa, Serie A, experience. He's injured until after the November international break. So our defense is struggling, because I felt like in this game, we should have conceded more goals. And this, I'll be honest, this is the first game this season of Palermo where, and this isn't just because we lost this game, but I talk about the performance. This is the first time where I've really said our defense was bad, because we have been solid defensively this season. But this was the first time where I said we were shit. We were absolute dog shit at the back. And it starts with, look, if I'm honest, I think Inzaghi made a mistake. And the mistake he made was this right here on the right-hand side. Diakite and Pirozzi. Pirozzi, for me, with Argello, is our best attacking wing-back. Diakite is a good player, but he's not a wing-back. He's a right-back who is very good, I would say. Bit inconsistent, especially last season, but on his day is very good at slotting into the right of a back three. I think that role suits him perfectly. So why Inzaghi keeps persisting with Diakite at right wing-back and Pirozzi at right centre-back? Pirozzi, for me, isn't even a right-back, really. Pirozzi is a wing-back. He is... I keep saying this to people. Wing-backs and full-backs are very different. They're not the same. People think they're the same. They're not the same. And this is another case of it. Plus, Pirozzi, I don't even think is a full-back, let alone a centre-back in a back three. It doesn't make any sense to me. And we got away with it against Modena. We got away with it against Spezia. We didn't get away with it in this game, because what do you know? Their goal comes down their left-hand side. And clearly, the left-hand side was where I knew we would struggle in this game, because Inzaghi, like I said, for people think I'm being reactionary, I'm not saying the manager needs to go. I think the manager is the right man. I believe he will deliver for us. I still maintain that. But at the same time, he needs to take accountability for the decisions that I think are costing us at the moment. And that is including this right-hand side. All he needs to do, I'm not even saying neither of them need to play, especially with the injuries we have. No Giassi either. Giassi's out as well, our other right wing-back. Just swap Diakite and Pirozzi. Play Pirozzi as a right wing-back and play Diakite as a right centre-back. Because for me, those are their two best positions. Don't swap them around and play them in roles where, for me, neither of them can play well. And you see it here with the ratings. I mean, our only good player is Jolonen, because he saved us about 3 times. Ceccaroni probably was the best centre-back on the day. And Peda, look, almost nicked an equaliser for us. But again, it's not... Bani, for me, makes a big difference. And I look at the midfield. Segler and Ranocchia, I'm not as concerned about, because I do think that the midfield wasn't the worst in this game, albeit, again, not good. But I felt that the bigger problems were the defense and the attack, because I need to... This has to end. I said this on the last show when we got away with it against Modena with a draw. I said this experiment of this front three thing, this 3-4-3 has to stop, because coming into the season, I said this from the start. Our best formation and our best way to set up the attack, Palumbo in the 10, Poyampalo and Brunori as the 2 strikers. Brunori dropped to the bench for this game. Fine. You know, I do think Ledoran's more suited to this role in the front three. But Ledoran did nothing. He went back to the absolute waste of money that he was last season in this game. Absolute piss poor this guy was. And for me, overall, if you compare him and Brunori, Brunori's our captain. He's a better player. Brunori is a striker that can get goals. Hasn't scored this season because he hasn't even played a single game at striker this season. Which I understand. Look, we got Poyampalo, who is another player that has to do more. Another player that is not playing the way he should, the quality that he has. Yes, I think Poyampalo's, I can give him a bit more of the benefit of the doubt because he's not helped by the system. The chance creation has dried up massively. We're not creating anywhere near as much as we did in other games this season, in our better performances. And Poyampalo's just isolated up front. He's completely ineffective. So for me, when you look at this problem, the obvious solution, Brunori, Poyampalo, front two, Palumbo in the 10 or in a midfield 3. For me, that is the clear and obvious way to go. But Inzaghi, he keeps persisting with the 3-4-3. And look, I know he played this formation at Pisa. I know it's a formation that, look, is probably, besides a 3-5-2, probably is the formation that is best suited to us, if I'm being honest. Because I don't think, I look at the current state of Palermo, we can't go to a back four. We don't have any wingers at the club. We got rid of Di Francesco. We got rid of Insigne. I understand both of them weren't good enough, sure. But we got rid of both of our wingers in the summer. Clearly to go permanently to a back three, which I think isn't a bad thing because I think Inzaghi obviously played this formation at Pisa. So I don't think it's a bad thing, but just for a lot of this season, he's been using players in wrong positions. And especially in the last couple of games with this, like I said, this right-hand side here and the front three. So, and you look at it here, I mean, the subs we made, the subs at Beresinski on at half time. Obviously, our backup left wing back. Brunori came on too late, I think. Vasic, I mean, I don't even need to speak about Vasic. I guess so ineffective, man. Corona and Gomez, ineffective completely once again. I mean, Gomez is a good player. I probably would maybe start him against Monza, which we'll talk about. But Corona, clearly a player that's young and is raw, like I've said already. So, Catanzaro were the better team. It's as simple as that. That's all I can say. Catanzaro on the day wanted it more than us. They played better football, and they should have won by more than just one goal. And we're talking about a team that's been shit most of the season. Catanzaro have not been good, right? And we made them look like a good team, which I know they have been the last couple of years, but this year that hasn't been the case so far. I'm pissed off, man. I'm so annoyed because every other team won. Apart from Venezia, Modena, who I'll be honest, I'm really surprised where they are. But Modena aren't slowing down, right? I'm just saying that right now. I saw them against Empoli. I saw them obviously against Palermo. They're not slowing down. They're a team that look really good right now, if I'm being honest. Spezia are down the bottom, but I look at the other teams. I mean, Frosinone drew, but Cesena won. Venezia lost. But, you look at it, Cesena and Monza most notably, 3-1 against Reggiana. We're now out of the top two, albeit still a point away. But we're not winning enough games. I've said this already. We draw FC last week. Now we've lost a game. This was a game we had to win, considering, so far this season, and this is where I will give Palermo a lot of credit. We've been very good in these types of games usually. So far, until this game, we've been beating these kind of teams. We've been winning against the teams that aren't doing so well, that are towards the bottom of the table. And we've been, if I'm honest, winning convincingly, like I've talked about. I thought we were fantastic against Bari. We were fantastic against Reggiana on the first game. Sudtira as well. I thought we were great in that game. Palermo have had some very good performances, but there's been little things in those games, like the attack, like us not scoring enough goals, that you've kind of thought, is this going to catch up with us? And if I'm honest, the last two games against Modena, against Catanzaro, we haven't created anywhere near enough. We were creating before. The chance creation has massively dried up. And for me, listen, Inzaghi's still working it out. He's our new manager. He's still figuring out his best team, his best formation. And I understand that he's not... he's walking into a new club. I fully understand that. But at the same time, there's decisions I think he's got wrong in the last couple of games. But more concern, but an even bigger concern. Forget the manager. I don't think the manager's the biggest concern at all right now. The biggest concern is these players, because these players once again showed that they have these just stinking performances in them. Like last season. Look, last season is totally different. I still maintain that. This is a totally different team with a totally different mentality. But a lot of these same players, played a very similar performance to ones that I've seen last season. And that was the concern for me. When I saw Palermo against Catanzaro, I got PTSD from last season, right? And these performances should be from behind us completely. This is just not good enough. It's as simple as that. And I'm really worried about our game on Tuesday against Monza, which we'll get into. But just essentially, you look at the table, we're now 5 points from first place. I know it's 9 games, but Palermo should not be 5 points from first place. I'm sorry, that's just the standard that I withhold this season. We have 1 win in our last 5. This is a bit of a rot. Like I said, too many draws. Yes, it was our first loss of the season. So look, on the face of it, I could be overreacting a bit because that was the first loss of the league this season. But at the same time, look, 4 draws, 4 wins. These draws, and look, only 10 goals scored. In the top 8, we have scored the least goals. Juve Stabia have scored more goals than us. And I don't even think they're that much of a goal-scoring team, if I'm honest. I look at Juve Stabia aren't a team that typically scores a lot of goals. Carrarese as well. They've scored 6 more goals than us. This is the problem. I can't entirely wrap my head around it other than players just not playing well enough, because I still maintain it. We have the best striker in the league. We have the best squad in the league, right? But we need to show it. And right now, yes, Inzaghi, I think, has made a couple of mistakes. But our players need to wake up. It's as simple as that. They need to wake up. And yes, there's nothing to panic about in terms of the table because it's only 9 games. We're a point off second, the automatic spots. There's a bit of a gap between us and first place. We need to be in there, And like I said, Serie B is a tough league. It's a really hard league to get out of. And we need to first of all, look, we need to get out of it this year. Not downwards, but upwards, of course. Going up. not downwards. I'll just make that clear. But,
that would be funny.
Yeah, this is a hard league to get out of, right? And to get out of this league, you need to be consistent. And right now, we're not consistent enough. And you look at the table, not only have we dropped out the top 2, but look, we're only a point above. Look, we're only 2 points above Juve Stabia. We're not far away from kind of, 7th, 8th at this point. And our next game is Monza, who have hit a run of forms pretty much, I'd say, since they got taken over recently by this American group. They've actually seemed to have hit a run of form since then. Yeah. So I'm concerned, man. I'm really, really concerned. And yeah, a very bad performance, a bad loss in a game that we needed to win. 10, from what you saw, what did you make of Palermo against Catanzaro?
Oh, I said prediction. I said 2-1 for United States Catanzaro, US Catanzaro.
To be fair, you did say you did call it. I'll give it to you. We did call it. You did call it.
Somehow. I was like, you know what? I'll go for this one game. Now I'm thinking, should I do it again? When we preview Monza, but yeah, this game against Catanzaro, obviously not the best result. It's now actually Palermo's first sort of like surprise loss of the season, because the only one was Udinese, but that's like, the cup, and a Serie A team. But yeah, just this game, I think Catanzaro, obviously the shots favor Palermo.
I mean, the stats for me, they don't tell the story of this game.
Yeah.
The stats really don't.
Yeah, I think Catanzaro were just more clinical in front of goal. Obviously, really good goal from Cisse. Could have had a second one, but
should have had a second.
The offside goal, the one rounded around Joe, and then could have been 2-0. But yeah, I just think that Palermo, over the past few games now, it's been like, I feel a bit uninspired watching them.
It's just the same shit, isn't it? It's just way too passive, way too there's no chemistry, it feels like, with the front three.
Yeah, and that's why I feel like perhaps it's the reason why you've only scored 10 goals in the league after 9. So basically, you only average 1 goal per game.
It's nowhere near enough. With the attack we have, it's nowhere near enough.
And considering, teams like, actually Catanzaro, if you don't take your chances, you don't score your customary 1 goal per game sort of thing, then you end up...
That's the thing. We can't always rely on the defense, especially now with Bani being out. We can't rely on the defense as much as before.
Yeah, and that's perhaps going to be a problem. But, the next 2 games, which we'll preview, Monza and Pescara, I mean, both home games, so there has to be a reaction in actually I think the next game against Monza. But yeah, it'll be tough for Palermo, I would say.
Listen, you see the table. You see the table right here. Monza have gone above us, a point ahead of us. Listen, Monza haven't been great this season, but they've hit a run of form. 3 wins in a row. They didn't have a good start, but they've now, stepped it up. Monza, obviously a team that were relegated. To be honest, look, I didn't think they would be as good as maybe Empoli, who have massively underperformed so far, and maybe Venezia, who I would say they've underperformed a little bit. But listen, Monza tomorrow, a midweek game. I am not confident one bit. But at the same time, this is a game we have to win. But I don't see us winning. One of the biggest problems with Palermo this season is for all of the good things we've done, we haven't beaten the teams around us. We've drawn with Frosinone, we've drawn with Modena, and we've drawn to Venezia at home. We've drawn to Cesena, who are now above us as well. We haven't done enough against these teams around us. Against against Monza, we have to show that we actually mean business, that we're not just going to fall away like the last couple of years in the sort of automatic promotion race. But I'm not confident because I'll tell you this, right? If we play like we did against Catanzaro, we're going to get cut open. We will lose this game. It's as simple as that. So I'm worried. And I'll let you go first on this, 10. Kind of what's your thoughts and prediction? Because look, if we see a different Palermo, we can win this game for sure. Are Palermo capable of winning this game? Yes, 100%. But if I see the Palermo I saw on Saturday, we're not getting anything other than a loss. It's as simple as that. So, 10, what's your thoughts? Monza, of course, relegated from Serie A last season. What's your thoughts on Palermo's home game on Tuesday against Monza?
Yeah, I mean, it does look a bit. I think this is obviously the toughest of the 2 games we'll preview. The other one being Pescara, but obviously this is the one that let's say if you lose, you would be at least 4 points from top 2, and obviously the teams below you win games. So obviously it's not a good run right now for Palermo, but you have to hopefully expect a reaction in this one because obviously it's against, you could say, a much more better team in Monza. But the fact that Monza are in very good form,
the thing is, Monza aren't better than us, but the problem is they're playing better than us right now.
Yeah, I mean, if you're only looking at the last 3 games, they're the only team to have won every game, just the last 3 games. So I think there's some confidence in that Monza team, whereas Palermo, I mean, losing to the team that didn't win a game yet.
I mean, look where they are. 15th, a point above the relegation playoffs.
Not good from Palermo to lose, even though I called it, but still. So in terms of prediction, I mean, I know I had lightning strike once. Should it strike again? The midnight owl is close at hand. Creatures bound in search of Palermo's blood to terrorize Sicily. And even though I think Palermo will fight to stay alive, I think their bodies will start to shiver because I don't think no mere mortal can resist the Monzas. I think Monza will get it. And in the name of thriller, Michael Jackson, I will go for a thriller. I see there's going to be a reaction, but I'll go 3-2 Monza.
You reckon we let in 3 goals? Wow. 3.
I don't know. I just feel like the defense in the 2 games, Spezia and what do you call this? What's the other one? The Catanzaro. You're up against
Modena.
I think you're coming up probably against a really good Monza team. They have confidence.
I mean, they still got Danny Motta. Danny Motta was in Serie A last season, and he was doing quite well. So they still got him, and he's going to be a problem for us, I reckon.
Yeah. So I'll go 3-2. In the words, it will be a thriller.
I reckon See, here's the thing, right? If we play like we did against Catanzaro, we're losing. It's as simple as that. We're losing. We're not winning this game. We're not even getting a draw if we play like that. But we're at home. Palermo, overall, have been much better at home this season. We still have, look, we're still unbeaten at home. We've dominated teams at home, the likes of Bari, the likes of Reggiana. You know, should have scored more, but we dominated both those games. There'll be a reaction, I'm sure of it. Knowing Inzaghi, knowing Palermo, I think that we will see an improvement. I hope so anyway. But I think we'll only draw. I think we're going to draw. And that's a frustrating thing because I don't think we can afford to draw this game right now. Because, like I said, I know it's still very early. And things can change 100%. But in Serie B, you don't want to lose grip too quickly. And I'm worried we're doing that because we're 5 points behind Monza. Not Monza, Modena. I keep getting them mixed up. Modena.
Well, soon you'll be.
And if we lose to Monza, we'll be 5 points off the top, 4 points off the top two. So,
Maybe
and that's where Palermo have to be this season, like I've said many times. So, but if I'm honest, look, I don't think we're in a position where if we play the way I think we're going to play, and if we have the same issues, not necessarily against Catanzaro, but just in general this season, if those issues are still there, I can't see us beating a team like Monza. I can't see it. So I reckon it will be a draw. I'll go for a 1-1. I'll go for a close game. Look, Monza, I know they're not going to come to the Barbera and batter us. Like, it's not going to happen. Palermo won't get battered by anyone at home this season. I'm sure of it. But
it would be funny if it's this.
Yeah, now I've said that, we're probably going to lose 3-0.
Either that or Pescara.
Yeah, but I'm saying that Palermo are still a strong team, of course. My feelings haven't changed a lot, but I am hitting the panic button now because these performances aren't good enough and they have to change. And it has to change on Tuesday. But, will it improve? Yes, I reckon it will. But will it be enough? I'm not so sure. So, unfortunately, I think we're going to draw 1-1 this game.
Yeah. And we'll see whether that performance actually helps you build for the game on Saturday, I believe.
Pescara, who are in 17th with 7 points.
Yeah. I do remember them. I think they were a Serie A team.
Yeah, Pescara. Look, I'm happy for them because they've recently they've got promoted back to Serie B. They were another team that had similar problems to Palermo, in terms of financial problems. Getting I think they got liquidated like we did. I think, but yeah, Pescara. What was interesting is I do have a bit of a soft spot for them because last season they not only got promoted through the playoffs, but guess who they knocked out of the playoffs? Catania. And guess who their manager was? Silvio Boldini, the man that got us up into Serie B, who sadly resigned because the ownership changed. And when the ownership changes, the manager usually changes as well. So it wasn't...
Thank you, Steve Bruce.
In hindsight, it wasn't too much of a surprise. But yes, he did. He did resign, but he got Pescara up. He's no longer at Pescara. He took the job for the Italy U21s for the national team. So he's working in the national team setup. But yeah, on Saturday, at 6:30 on Saturday, Palermo host Pescara. Listen, anything less. Look, Pescara. Look, they've given some teams some tough games. They got a draw against Venezia from 2-0 down already this season, but Pescara, we have to win. It's as simple as that. Must win, no excuses. And I'm led to believe I think we will win that game. We're not going to make it easy because we're not making anything easy right now. But look, I'll have to see how we do against Monza. Then I might have more of a fair prediction for the Pescara game. But I'm fully expecting a win. I'm expecting a win against Pescara, newly promoted team. I'll go for, I think we might, hopefully, we'll find. Look, we haven't, to be honest, at home especially, we haven't played many teams at that end of the table. So I will go for a 2-0 win to Palermo at home to Pescara as an I'll say early prediction for that game. So 10, what's your thoughts on that? Are you gonna say we're gonna lose to Pescara or
nah? I mean, if you go 3 in a row losing, then
this is a whole different conversation. This show is a whole different conversation at that point.
Yeah. Because then you're losing two teams at near the bottom and then a team at the top. So, but yeah, for this game against Pescara, it's the battle of the P. Let's see
Battle of the P.
whose P is better. Which P is better? But I know the head-to-head, even though it's not really.
It's been a while. It's been a long time since we played Pescara. It's a long time.
Yeah, but it seems quite an even fixture over the past.
What's the head-to-head saying?
I think 3 wins each and 4 draws in the last 10 games. 3 wins each and 4 draws. But of course, that was,
So actually, our last game against
2019.
Pescara was in April 2019. That was before we got liquidated. Very close. Look, at this point, we were about to get liquidated, actually. Pescara beat us 3-2 in that game. So, yeah, not the best. Our last home game was a 3-0 win in 2018. So it just shows you it's been a long time since we played.
Yeah. But in terms of prediction, I think obviously as a newly promoted team in Serie B, I still think Palermo will have just more than enough quality to get the job done against Pescara. It could be tough, but I will go 2-0. So actually, over the course of the 2 games, I'm predicting 4 goals from Palermo, but lose one of them.
Lose one of the games. But here's the thing, though. I will say this: we should beat Pescara. I'm hopeful we will beat Pescara, but Palermo. Last few years, since we've got promoted back into Serie B, we have had this problem against newly promoted teams. Lecce, they're in like Serie D now, or whatever, Serie C, I can't even remember.
Not even right?
Lecce. We lost to, I can't even remember. Last season, Catanzaro, we lost to. They were a newly promoted team. So I'm just saying, newly promoted teams, we've had a bit of a problem with the last couple of years. So it's time to not make those same mistakes, essentially.
Yeah. I mean, looking forward, I think, to the game, I guess, tomorrow, the Monza game, to see if it will be a filler.
I'm not looking forward to it. I'm sorry. I'm really not looking forward to this Monza game. I'm seriously worried, man. Because here's the thing: like, if we lose, we're 4 points from the top 2.
Potentially 8 points from the
8 if Modena win, which I think they will, because I know they have a relatively kind run of fixtures now as well.
Yeah.
Palermo have, there are cracks, like the title says, serious cracks are appearing now, and we have to end this. We have to stop doing this.
Yeah, this might haunt Charlie and probably me if we don't beat Zaragoza as well.
Exactly. So look, unfortunately, like I said at the start of the show, this was probably going to be the most negative show of La PIñA Rosa so far this season. For now, hopefully it doesn't get even worse. Knock on wood. Look, I'll say this on a positive note. If we beat Monza, if we go and beat Monza, if we beat Pescara, things are looking much better. We're probably going to be in the top 2. And also, we would have beaten Monza, Pescara. That's 2 wins, just to get us back towards where we should be, bouncing back from a loss like this. But if we don't win these 2 games, we're falling a little bit behind, even quite early on. We're falling a little bit early. So let's see how it unfolds. I think next week's show is going to be a very interesting show, in my opinion, because I think I think these next 2 games for Palermo will kind of tell me a lot about where we're truly at as a team. These next 2 games will tell me a lot.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. We'll see how it goes.
We will see. But yeah, I guess that does conclude another episode of La PIñA Rosa. Unfortunately, like I said, concerns now mounting up for both our teams, Deportivo and Palermo. Hopefully both can start to put things right in the games ahead and get back up towards the automatic promotion spots in both the leagues. 10, big up for coming on once again. As always with the show, guys, it is streamed on both channels, so subscribe to both if you haven't already. Like both streams as well. But yeah, 10, big up for coming on. Yeah, any final words before we go?
Yeah, I mean, obviously,
happy Halloween.
Looking forward to Halloween. Okay, my voice is probably not as good. But yeah, looking forward to obviously to see what the result will be tomorrow for what do you call this? For Palermo against Monza.
If we lose, you're gonna cook me. You already know. You're gonna you're gonna say something.
Oh, if it ends up actually being like a nice, like high scoring game, that would be good. But yeah, looking forward to the rest of the week and all. Obviously, mainly, I mean, not Deportivo Palermo related. We'll see what happens for the a very specific game on Wednesday around this time. Whether it's tears or jeers.
Well, one of us is going to be crying on Wednesday. That's for
Yeah,
certain.
I mean, because one of us will get knocked out on Wednesday.
Yep.
Which we will put up like a preview on our channel for that specific game
tomorrow. Yep. Look out for both channels tomorrow. There will be content surrounding Spurs and Newcastle tomorrow. And previewing the Carabao Cup tie, of course, at St James's as well. Like I mentioned, I will be in the away end, so I'm looking forward to that. Hopefully,
climbing up all the stairs.
Hopefully, yeah, climbing, going to the gods. You know, my first time at St James's Park as well, so I'm looking forward to it. Hopefully, I don't come back crying. Let's just see. Hopefully, I'm not leaving after 10 minutes like those fans were in the 6-1.
Oh, the 6-1.
When they remember like our fans were leaving after.
Oh, and there was like an emergency thingy. I remember something about that. Like there was the emergency test alert on people's phones.
Oh, was it on that day?
Yeah, that day. So there was some memes I remember of that.
Oh yeah, might have been. But
yeah.
Ten. Any final words before we wrap up?
Forza Monza, Forza Pescara.
Nah, we're not doing that.
Yeah, but looking forward to the games.
Viva Zaragoza. Viva Zaragoza.
Or Samano.
Samano. Viva Samano.
Yeah, but I mean, we'll see how things go for both of our teams. Technically, we're playing 2 games this week, both of us.
Yeah, look, I think PIñA Rosa could be quite an interesting show next week, to say the least. But yeah, we're going to wrap up the show. Big up everyone for watching, as always. We will see you in the next one. Forza Palermo.
Deportivo will win La Liga in 2020.